Man of No Ego by Dimitar Petrov. Read by Jackson Holiday Wheeler. Chapter 1. Love and Intuition. What is a man of no ego? First, I would like to start by saying that in this book I share my perspective on a way of life, a way of living. A man of no ego is a person devoted to the path of not living through the egoic self. He or she is not a person without an ego. There is no such person. A man of no ego is someone who lives according to his heart and constantly seeks self-inquiry. This human being has finally realized the fundamental principle of life: love. How to get there? Well, there is no formula. As with everything else, each individual ego is unique. It is a self-image that we've built throughout our entire lives. It is a frame in which we can function as an individual, as a separate entity. If we remove the ego completely, we remove a fundamental part of the human experience. The path of self-inquiry, or self-love, is the path with which you can realize and integrate the egoic self. In the words of a wise sage, the question "who am I?" is the axe with which to cut off the ego. The ego is the I thought, and the true I is the self. If a person has a deep urge to expand, if he or she knows that there is much more to life, the ego must be integrated. It must be integrated so that it does not act as an obstacle for the achievement of those dreams. So be open and always ask yourself the fundamental question: who am I? When the ego is realized as such, we are the self and not the ego. And by focusing the mind on love, ego is no longer an obstacle. But let us leave the I thought for a moment and ask, what is intuition? Intuition is of the heart. It is the divine connection with the true self. It is the truth. Intuition is within every one of us. Following it is not an easy task because it is veiled, but this is the path of courage and expansion. When intuition arises, the ego arises as well. Thus, the fundamental choice has to be made. But the ego is of the mind, and knowing is one thing, but feeling is another. That is the key. A person who feels knows, but a person who thinks he knows. That is why self-inquiry is the basis of connecting with your heart. The more you come close to your original being and allow it to be, the more you come close to your internal light, your intuition. Following this inner voice usually leads away from comfort zones, and thus many aspects of our lives might begin to shift in order to accommodate our true expression. I would like to propose these 4 aspects of life: love and intuition, Chapter 1; balance and duality, Chapter 2; body-mind connection, Chapter 3; energy and food, Chapter 4. In order to live beyond the self-made image, it is important to integrate and understand these elements. We shouldn't get too serious here. After all, life is not a riddle to be solved, but a mystery